We had a nanny in the house who liked to wear maid outfits. After she broke into the master bedroom study, which only my husband and I were allowed to enter, I asked my husband to dismiss her. But my husband, who has always been obedient to me, spoke up for the nanny. "Honey, she's just a fresh graduate, it's normal for her to make mistakes, just think of it as a good thing to give her a chance to learn." I thought of my sister, who had just graduated, and gave the nanny a second chance in a soft heart. Until I was on a business trip when I saw the nanny dancing hot in a maid's outfit and my husband who was enjoying himself through the surveillance. I just realized that after a long time of good times, my husband has really forgotten who owns the house. Almost the next second, I dialed my lawyer. My request was simple: Victor's net worth. The lawyer emailed me an exact copy of what I needed to prepare. Bitterness welled up in my heart as I looked at the wedding photo with Victor on my cell phone wallpaper. Teenage couples can't resist fresh blood. "Honey, it's storming in the South City, I can only come back tomorrow." Hearing my words, Victor's voice was filled with leaps of joy. "Really? You're only coming back tomorrow?" Seemingly realizing that his voice was too agitated, he turned and said, "You pay more attention to the rainstorm, and it's really okay if you can't make it to the anniversary, safety is the most important thing." I hung up the phone, my heart cold most of the time. Victor's sentences revealed concern, but every word was hypocritical, but he knew that the South City was cloudless today even if he checked the weather. I turned on the home surveillance. Sure enough, the next second the phone hung up, Victor couldn't wait to get his hands on the babysitter. I turned off the surveillance and boarded the plane home. The year we got married, the Duan family borrowed money to buy this villa. He had said that only the two of us could enter the study, because it was full of testimonies of my love for him and his love, as well as the foundation of his career. But now, he was laughing and joking with the little nanny inside. I stood in the doorway, my body cold. Even though I'd known about the situation inside the house through the surveillance for a long time, my heart still ached from seeing it with my own eyes. I fought back the nausea and recorded the video. Then I pushed the door to enter. The two of them obviously looked like they had just finished cleaning up the mess. Victor didn't expect me to come back so suddenly and was too shocked to speak. Still, the young nanny smiled and stepped forward, extending her hand towards me. "Hello ma'am, I'm the new nanny, Mia." I looked past her to Victor behind me, questioning, "Did you let her in?" Mia blocked my view. "Ma'am, don't blame Victor, I'm the one who didn't know how to place things and Victor came in to teach me." I didn't say anything as Victor stepped forward and pushed Mia out. "Mia, you go out first, I'll discuss something with Madam on my side." Mia reluctantly went out, not forgetting to add on her way out, "Madam, don't you quarrel with Mister because of me." I looked at Victor with an expressionless face. He looked at me in panic. "Honey, what are you doing back here?" I looked indifferent. "How do I know she's in the study again if I don't come back?" At that, Victor froze slightly. "I've been busy lately, so I asked her to help with the cleaning." "Cleaning?" I sounded offended. "You forgot what I said last time?" Victor was not amused. "She's still a child, what can she know?" He said as he wrapped his arms around my waist. "Don't be mad, I'll clean it myself next time." I coldly pushed his hand away and turned to look him straight in the eye. "Victor, it's not a matter of whether she knows what she's doing or whether you clean it yourself. Do I need to remind you of what this study means to you and me? I don't want anyone intruding on my private domain for any reason whatsoever. It's not going to happen again, and once more, you're out of here with her." Victor couldn't hold the smile on his face any longer. He looked at me with a look of disgust that he was about to be unable to hide. "Okay, I get it, it won't happen again." The evening meal was a little dull. Victor approached me several times, but I refused without moving. Mia stood and waited on us as we ate, touching Victor intentionally or unintentionally as she pinched her food. Victor was so tense that he tensed up when he realized my attention wasn't falling on them. It was even bolder to the point where he was pulling and tugging on Mia right in front of me. The two covered up their intimacy, all of which I recorded on camera. After dinner, Victor finally relented. He wrapped his arms around my waist at bedtime, and his tone was quite pleasing. "Honey, are you still angry?" There's such a big difference in years between Mia and I. She could be my daughter, how could I possibly be interested in her? I took a deep breath and moved Victor's hand away, don't you get it? I don't care about Mia how old she is, and I don't care if you're interested in her. None of that matters. I turned and looked him straight in the eye. The most important thing is privacy, a matter of personal privacy. The den is attached to the master bedroom, and she'd have to go through the master bedroom to get into the den. What's a nanny who goes in and out of her employer's room as she pleases? Besides, you said that the study is a witness to our relationship, a private space that belongs solely to the two of us. But you're letting her in and out as she pleases now, so it's hard to believe that you're going to let her come in and stick her nose in the middle of what's going on between the two of us? Hearing me say that, Victor instantly tensed up. I'm sorry, wife, I'm the one being lazy and making you feel bad. He kissed the center of my forehead, hit me, don't ever sulk by yourself, you'll get wrinkles. Seeing that I didn't say anything, Victor held out 3 fingers, I swear that nothing like this will ever happen again. One more time and I'll go clean. I pressed on, not believing what Victor was saying, but the depositions needed for the lawsuit hadn't been completed yet. All I could do was fight back the nausea and reach around his waist, go to sleep, we have to go to the old mansion for a get-together tomorrow. At the family dinner, Victor lived up to my expectations and brought Mia over. The two of them were intimate in their gestures, and there was no social distance between them. The relative beside me saw this and couldn't help but knock me around. Who's the little girl next to Victor? Why haven't I seen her before, is she a distant cousin? I deliberately said, it's our babysitter. The relative was even more confused, nanny? We're having a family dinner, why did we bring our nanny? I was about to add more fuel to the fire when my cell phone rang. It was a message from my sister. Sis, what's the deal with this nanny my brother-in-law hired? What's with the messy Facebooking? The accompanying image is a selfie of Mia, positioned at the restaurant where the family feast is taking place. The copy is even more evocative. Thanks to the boss's favor, from today onwards is also the boss's family. I sneered. What 2 idiots? Stealing food and still can't help showing it off. It's convenient for me to collect evidence of cheating. I saved the screenshot in silence. Don't worry about your results this month, I'll send you a headline. My sister received my message and instantly understood what I was going to do. Don't worry, sis, I'll definitely bring my HD equipment and make sure I get a clear shot of the scum's face. Half an hour before the party started, Mia was wandering around the center of the party like a flower peacock. She was acting like a hostess. That is, until she spilled a glass of red wine on my dress skirt, and the merriment came to a screeching halt. Gee, ma'am, I didn't mean to do that, you're so generous, you'll forgive me, won't you? Everyone watched my expression and waited for my next action. Mia's eyes were red as she looked at me, her tears were about to fall but not yet fallen, she looked pitiful. My eyes were slightly cold, and I slapped her with my backhand. Almost the next second, Victor rushed to me and questioned loudly, what are you doing? Mia is still so young, how is she going to take this slap from you? Mia lay petulantly in Victor's arms, whimpering as if she had been wronged. Ma'am, I know you don't like me, and you often give me a hard time at home, but you don't. Before she could finish her sentence, I let out a cold snort and backhanded another slap. Mia was confused by my slap, her mouth open and unable to say a word. The murmurs from the sidelines grew louder and Mia was so aggravated that tears came to her eyes and she helplessly looked to Victor for help. Victor, said Victor, not daring to say a word as the eyes of the crowd stared at him. When he didn't say anything, Mia got anxious and tugged on his arm, say something. What did you tell me before coming here, remember? I looked at the farce in front of me with an expressionless face. Finally, amidst Victor's silence, Mia exploded. She slapped Victor violently, tearing her heart out, I'm 5 months pregnant, and it's your seed in my belly. If you don't give me a name, you have to give the child a name. He also has the right to inherit your assets. When these words came out, the audience was in an uproar. Even I was frozen in place with shock. I didn't expect the two of them to move so quickly, and in just a few months' time, they even had a child. After the shock, nausea instantly filled her body. Which meant that she and Victor had been screwing long before Mia walked through the door. It's just that Mia is so skinny looking that you can't tell. Thinking about this, anger burned in my heart. Yanking up Victor's hair, I slapped him twice. The loud slaps silenced the noisy environment instantly. The crowd looked at each other in disbelief, none of them dared to speak. Victor dropped to his knees and begged for mercy. "Honey, it's all her fault for hitting on me. I had nothing to do with it, it was her, she was the one who hit on me." My sister pushed her way through the crowd. "Sis, I got it all on tape." With that she took the divorce papers out of her arms and handed them to me. I took a deep breath and kicked Victor in the stomach and threw the divorce papers over. Today this third-party pregnancy forced a good show. It just gives me the opportunity, this time they pair of dogs can net together. Victor looked at the divorce papers in his hand and instantly panicked. He was just about to open his mouth to beg for forgiveness when he heard Mia pull out her voice. "What do you mean? What do you mean it's recorded? You call this a sneak peek? I'm going to call the police and sue you for violating my portrait rights." Facing Mia's forcefulness, her sister didn't flinch at all. "Big sister, please get it straight, you're the one who came to our family feast. It seems like we didn't invite you either, so can I count you as trespassing too?" Mia snorted coldly. "This is a restaurant, what kind of trespassing is that?" I indifferently looked at the woman causing trouble in front of me and the cowardly man on the side. "I forgot to tell you, this restaurant is owned by me. Victor, too, relies on me." Mia obviously doesn't believe it, and the questioning words instantly make everything clear when she sees Victor's shrunken head-like expression. Still refusing to give up, she held her stomach. "So what, you two get divorced and Victor gets half the property?" I looked at the retarded female person in front of me with an expressionless face. Raising his hand, he signaled the bodyguard to throw the two out. I thought I would be able to stop for a while. However, before I could send out the video, Mia started selling her misery on the internet. In the live broadcast, she was holding her pregnant belly, crying and complaining to the netizens. As for the content, it was nothing more than a few evasive words. She portrayed herself as a perfect victim. And I was the black-hearted employer she was talking about, instructing her to do menial work when she knew she was pregnant. I don't mention anything that is wrong with myself, and put all the blame on me. My sister looked at me with a worried face. "Sis, are you sure you don't want to deal with it?" I looked at my newly done nails with satisfaction and said meaningfully, "There's no rush, the good part is still to come." Mia's status as a pregnant woman and laborer soon attracted a lot of attention on the internet. Netizens took pity on her and came to her aid. Mia is also a no-brainer, knocking directly on my door. "Elaine, you can't fire me for nothing. We have a contract, you have to pay liquidated damages for firing me." I glanced at her with a cold smile. "Whoever signed the contract with you, who are you looking for? Also, you'd better read the contract clearly, whether it's you or me who broke the contract." Mia obviously didn't expect things to go in a direction she didn't expect. In her and her network's conception, I should have cried and paid her for the breach of contract. But the truth is, I made her eat her words. Mia is so stupid. She was screwing Victor and had a baby in her belly. It's obvious who broke the contract first. I didn't take this matter to heart. After all, she doesn't come to mess with me. How can I play the cards in my hand to excellent effect without making a big deal out of it? But I never thought that it would come to this, knocking on my door in the middle of the night. Victor even helped Mia to speak. Mia relied on Victor's embrace with an aggravated and helpless face. And Victor, the first thing he said when he saw me was, "How could you be so cruel to her? Mia is also a pregnant woman in any case, you force her to be anxious, what if she dies twice?" I knew Victor was stupid, but I didn't think he'd be that stupid. In order to show off his so-called manhood, he went so far as to directly threaten me with divorce. "Elaine, you can't get divorced as long as I don't agree. As long as I'm not divorced, this is my home, let me in." I watched him with good humor. I didn't mind adding more fuel to the fire in order for the follow-up to be even more explosive and exciting. "Okay, you guys come on in. Victor obviously didn't think I'd let up so easily, and knowing what he knows about me, I should have made a scene and told him to get out. So even when he entered the door, he was still careful. Afraid to do something to make me unhappy, well, both of them shelled out. After all, this house is written in my name alone. But Mia is different, she's clueless, even though Victor repeatedly emphasized not to mess with me. But she still couldn't help herself and came up to me and continued to play the White Lotus. Ma'am, what happened before was all my fault. I shouldn't have just walked in and out of your and Victor's room, even with Victor's permission. And I shouldn't have followed Victor to the house party just because he invited me and made you look bad. Everything is my fault. Please forgive me. She looked genuinely repentant. If she hadn't been bouncing on my thunderbolt with every word, I might have actually been fooled by her pathetic look. Without waiting for me to say anything, Mia slapped herself straight across the face and then fell even further to the floor. Almost the next second, Victor rushed over and yelled at me without a second thought, "What more do you want? She's a pregnant woman. Why are you so vicious? I'm the one who let her into the study, and I'm the one who brought her to the family dinner. If you are angry at me, don't lay your hands on her and the child in her belly." Mia, deeply afraid of not being able to anger me, slowly added, "Ma'am, you can't do this to me just because you can't conceive a child." The two of them sang in unison, directly giving me an angry laugh. I could no longer hold back and grabbed Victor's collar. "Listen to me clearly, this mess between me and you was never because of what you made her do. Rather, it's because you've challenged the limits of my patience several times and 3 times. Giving away the secret that belongs between us as husband and wife to participate in." Victor raised his voice, "It's not just a shitty den. What the hell are you messing with me for? I told you, I was the one who got Mia to clean it because I was too busy, so what's the problem? A family dinner is just a dinner, Mia is too lazy to get it done at home alone, what's wrong with me bringing her along? Are you going to make a scene with me whenever you get involved with her?" I asked back, "Can't I make a scene?" "Victor, don't think I don't know what you let her in for in the first place. Your heart wasn't with me when it was. Do you remember what you promised me in the first place? The study was our secret garden, and the family feast was attended by husband and wife hand in hand. It was you who personally made the secret garden cease to exist, and it was you who brought Mia to woo me into public opinion. Me and you, there's nothing to talk about. You're getting the hell out of here right now." Victor snapped, staring at me with shock in his eyes. "So you're really divorcing me because of these 2 insignificant little things?" I looked at him calmly, "It's a small thing in your eyes. But to me, it was you who crossed the last line between husband and wife. You made me feel that I wasn't the only one for you, that anyone could replace me at will." After this argument, Victor and I's relationship dropped to freezing point. Even though we still lived under the same roof, there was no communication between the two of us. Perhaps to disgust me, Victor and Mia acted out their couple love directly in front of me. "Victor, look, the baby is kicking my tummy." With a shy face, Mia took Victor's hand and placed it on her stomach. Victor buried his head in her arms, his ear pressed against his stomach. Smiling with happiness, "Really, he's really moving. Both of our children are really moving." Mia glanced at me in the afterglow and said conspiratorially, "Would you like to come over and feel it, ma'am? After all, you've never been able to be a mom in your life, so naturally you won't understand how cute the baby is in the womb." I said indifferently, "Yeah? Then why don't you ask the baby in your belly if it would like to have a mom with no name?" Perhaps my words poked me a sore spot, her expression instantly turned ugly. "When are you going to divorce her? Do you really want me to follow you without a name?" Because of her pregnancy, Victor could only coax, "Isn't this still on the table? As long as I bite the bullet and don't get divorced, sooner or later she won't be able to wear me down enough to keep me out of the net." The two were not talking loudly, but I could hear them clearly. "When the time comes, when I get the money, I'll marry you right away and go home, so you and the baby can both live in a big house." Mia looked at Victor with a pouty look on her face, "Bugger, you'll have to hurry then, the baby is due in a couple months." I looked up at the camera that was facing them. Yes, I am. The baby will be born soon. But his mom and dad are still trying to make money. They don't realize that what they're doing in this villa is all being recorded. A week later, my sister messaged me. Sis, are you seriously still not stepping up? The internet is full of you cursing you. I really can't stand it anymore. I looked at the surveillance in front of me and carefully selected a few clips to send to my sister. These are the ones you sent along with the video of the last family dinner. The previous video of Mia dancing in a maid outfit was too revealing, and the lawyer didn't advise me to send it out. But these videos in my hand now are all about the two of them spending time together these days. There were many scenes of Victor and Mia calling each other husband and wife. Not as explosive as the video of the hot dance, but it was sent out along with the video of the family dinner. What exactly is going on, the internet will tell you at a glance. It's not in vain that I've been holding back my nausea all these days, watching two bedbugs hanging out in front of me. While the video was sent to my sister, I had Victor and Mia kicked out. The two didn't react at first, and in a sleepy haze they were yanked out from under the covers and thrown out the door with their packages. As the month got older, Mia's mobility became more and more inconvenient. Victor stood in the doorway and screamed at me, "Elaine! What kind of nerve are you smoking?" Not waiting for him to continue cursing, Mia tugged at his sleeve with a look of horror. "Hubby! We've been cyberstormed." "What?" Victor let out a gasp and grabbed his cell phone. The video playing inside was clearly his daily routine with Mia in the past few days. The video has already attracted a lot of attention, although the video has been processed to give both of them a mosaic. However, some sharp-eyed netizens quickly realized that the woman in the video was Mia, and the lies she had told at the beginning were also broken. The two instantly became street rats for everyone, and Victor stood downstairs, cursing toward me. "Elaine, who gave you permission to post the video online? Do you know that my reputation has been ruined by you? How am I supposed to meet people in the future?" I looked at them both condescendingly. "What, you're allowed to post videos but not me? Didn't Mia sell her misery without my consent in the first place?" Before Victor's words reached his mouth, Mia behind him suddenly covered her stomach and cried out in pain. The two rushed to the hospital in a hurry. Mia was stimulated to premature labor and gave birth to a daughter. Victor, whose dream of a son is shattered, turns around and tries to run away, but is blocked at the hospital entrance by reporters who have sniffed at the door. "Victor, may I ask if things between you and Mia are really as they are said on the internet? Is the baby in Mia's belly really yours? And how are you going to explain Elaine's side?" Victor was overwhelmed by the questions that had stumbled upon him as I sat in the nanny car, calmly watching the scene unfold in front of me. "This is where it's at, mess with me and everyone is out of luck." The file to the side was clutched tightly in my hand, and on the computer screen, emails were timed to be released in 24 hours. Since Victor had been so unkind to me, there was no point in me continuing to keep his secrets for him. By the time Victor had managed to stave off the news media altogether, the OB/GYN side called him back in. "Victor, baby is barely surviving on a ventilator due to being a premature baby suffering from a congenital respiratory disease. Surgery will follow, so you can go ahead and pay the bill." Listening to the doctor's words, Victor's heart was in a hurry. His Vice card was suspended by me, and he could only find the publisher to advance the payment of the manuscript. But he and Mia's affair was a big deal. The publisher had wanted to cancel the contract with him to avoid the subsequent storm. "I don't care, if you don't give me the money today, my child will die, and if she dies, I won't let you guys have a good time either." Looking at his landlubber hooligan virtues, the editor-in-chief is naturally ready to take the money to let him go, but the finance has long been off. Everything will have to wait for tomorrow. "The deal is, if I don't see the money tomorrow, I'll put you guys up on the internet. Let everyone see how you see death and help." Victor was furious and pissed off at the editor-in-chief, and then he even spat at the editor-in-chief before turning to leave. To make it easier to ask for the money, Victor took a room directly near the publishing house, and waited to go to the treasurer's early in the morning to collect the money. As soon as he entered the company, he was looked up and down by everyone with a kind of disdain. Victor didn't care too much. After all, what he did yesterday was really disgraceful. But when he walked up to the finance and asked for the money, the editor-in-chief spat at him harshly. "I shucks. You imposter. An imposter of your own wife, and you still have the nerve to ask me for the manuscript fee? You spit out all of your previous manuscript fees. Elaine, get your ass out here. Who are you to hand over the manuscript? Are you trying to kill me?" I put on my face mask and looked at the hysterical Victor outside the door, only amused. Men, they are disgusting. After living a good life for so long, he forgets his own predicament and who actually gave him such a privileged life. I beckoned toward the security guard, let him in. Victor and I, sitting on the couch, looked at each other in disbelief, the arrogance from a moment ago disappearing upon seeing the 4 burly men behind me. The tone and posture was even lower than it could be. "Tell me, what exactly do I have to do for you to let me go?" I smiled. "Let you go? What did I do to make me let you go?" Victor glared hard at me. "Don't think I don't know that the manuscript in the study was sent to the publisher by you. Isn't this the way you want to soften up to you by making me lose my reputation? Now you tell me exactly what I have to do for you to let me go." I grunted coldly. "First of all, you're the one who broke our promise in the first place, and second of all, I wrote the manuscript in the first place, you're the one who submitted it to the publisher behind my back in the first place, you call it stealing, and I'm having a problem with taking back what's rightfully mine." Victor got anxious and yelled at me. "We're married, isn't that what you said? What's yours is mine, and since it's mine, what's wrong with me voting for the publisher?" I slammed the table, my anger crushing Victor. "Remember, you betrayed me first, why should I show mercy if you're unkind?" Seemingly realizing that the hard way won't work, Victor softened his voice. "Honey, can you really bear to see her die? No matter how much you hate me and Mia, the child is innocent, can you bear to see her die?" Seeing my expression loosened, Victor pursued the attack. "Give me $1 million, I'll treat the child, and when she's discharged from the hospital hold her by your side and raise her, okay? Haven't you always loved children? I'll give you this child as my compensation for you, okay?" Hearing what Victor said, I just felt like my brain was going to explode with anger. It's come to this, and he still can't figure out what's going on, smugly negotiating with me. It's not impossible to get me to pay up. I looked at Victor and said, word for word, "You sign the divorce papers, you net the money, and I'll get you the money." "How can that be?" Almost the next second, Victor stormed out, "You're asking me to give up half of my fortune because of a little girl, liar, dream on." I looked at him coldly. "So you put up with watching her die?" Victor said indifferently, "It's not like it's a boy, so what if she dies?" I looked at him calmly. How I didn't think the man I once loved would rot like this. With Victor's attitude I had no need to continue talking to him. I got up and left and Victor was thrown out by the bodyguard. Until the gate, he was still screaming, "Elaine, you poisonous woman who sees death. Wait for me, I won't spare you." I stood on the balcony and stared at him with indifference. See, this is what men are like. Obviously he can't afford to be rich and famous, but he blames the woman for his faults. I pity that child, who was born with such parents. Victor doesn't want a divorce. I have all the money and time in the world to spend with him, I just don't know if Mia can wait. Unable to pay the medical bills, the hospital kicks Victor and Mia out. The two are crammed into a small rented room and argue constantly. "Why don't you agree to Elaine's request? Can you just bear to watch our child die?" In the face of Mia's questioning, Victor righteously said, "She's not a male, so if she dies, she dies, she can't fight to have another one." A word that directly exasperated Mia's heart and liver pain. She covered her chest heaving up and down. The two are still arguing, and the baby girl in the crib is crying along with them, and with that comes a violent knocking at the door. Victor impatiently opens the door, and the old woman at the door squeezes right in. Before Victor had a chance to speak, he heard the old lady exclaim, "Aya! What a sin! Tell me about you, you quit your good job, you had to do babysitting, and now you're getting knocked up. Our old Lynn family's face is going to be disgraced by you." Mia looked tearfully at the old woman in front of her. "Mom." Victor awkwardly went forward. "Aunt." Unexpectedly, the old lady did not give him a good face. "You are the employer who knocked up my daughter?" Victor was embarrassed and didn't know what to say for a while. "You're the one who knocked up my daughter? Why are you so shameless? My daughter is only how old you can be her father. How can you do it?" Saying that, the old lady was about to get on Victor and hit him, yelling as she did so, "You have to give me a statement today. When will you marry my daughter and give her a name? Or else I'll go to the police station and sue you. Get you arrested and go." Looking at the old man and woman's expressions, Victor knew they were serious and had to say, Tomorrow is the time to get the divorce license." The old lady twisted Victor's ear. "You'd better get it over with tomorrow and lead with my daughter the day after, or I'll make you eat your words." As the saying goes, barefoot is not afraid of wearing shoes. Victor was really afraid that the old lady would be paranoid and do something she shouldn't do, and even rolled to find me. "Elaine, don't you want a divorce? You will follow me to get the divorce license now." I looked at the impatient man in front of me and sneered, "I suddenly don't feel like getting a license today. Why don't we wait until next month?" Victor immediately became anxious. "What do you mean? We agreed to get the license today. How can you go back on your word?" I looked at him. "It's fine if you want me to agree to a divorce. You sign the divorce papers and get it right now. You." Victor pointed at me, obviously not expecting me to suddenly go back on my word. Joke. The man who counts on me, I'll only count on him back 100 times over. Thinking of the old lady chasing after him with a kitchen knife yesterday, Victor gritted his teeth and agreed to my request. He wanted money, but he was more afraid of death. Half an hour later, I looked at the divorce papers in my hand and let out a satisfied laugh. "Happy divorce y'all, Victor, and have a happy 100 years of marriage." The second I got my marriage license, I felt more relaxed and relieved than I had ever felt before. Victor and Mia are living under the duress of the old lady, who is young and liberal, and is not the type to stay at home and raise her children, so Victor is left to do everything. Victor is overjoyed to learn that he can continue to nestle at home with a wife who makes money to support the family. Until he faces the household chores day in and day out, watching Mia and the old lady's face to get by. Finally, he can't hold on any longer and fights back. But he clearly underestimated the old lady's strength, and after being kicked out of the house with a broken leg, Victor crawled to me in tears and begged for forgiveness. "Wife, please forgive me. I really know I'm wrong, Mia. She's inferior to you in every way. You and her are completely different. As long as you agree to remarry me, I'm willing to be a cow or a horse." I was admiring my new boyfriend's abs when Victor came to my door, and hearing his hypocritical pleas for forgiveness was just laughable. "What makes you think you can compete with my new boyfriend, Brother X?" At those words, Victor looked up at the man in front of him, who was more than 10 years younger than him, and uttered in surprise, "Elaine. How old are you, and aren't you ashamed of yourself?" "Heh." I sneered. "Weren't you ashamed of yourself when you first approached Mia? Why are you the only one who can and I can't?" After saying that, I directly let the bodyguard throw Victor out. I couldn't get a job. Victor was blackballed from the industry and couldn't get a job, so he had to go back to Mia, who was the father of his children, and did whatever she wanted in Mia's little store. When things don't go his way, he rolls on the floor and says that Mia's family bullies him and mistreats him by not feeding him. At first Mia and Fast Pushta would get in the way of Victor's unreasonable demands, but over time the mother-daughter duo became disgusted with him. More than that, it saps the last of Mia's feelings for him, so Mia cheats on him, good and bad, and Victor runs into her, and the three of them screw up. The old lady rushes to help the fight and is stabbed to death by Victor. After the old lady's death, Mia goes completely crazy and joins hands with her boyfriend to drag Victor towards the boiling hot noodle pot and press him. In a few moments, Victor is scalded to death in the noodle shop. After 2 murders in one day, both with strong evidence, Mia and her boyfriend are soon arrested by the police for intentional homicide and sentenced to death. Victor and Mia's child was sent to an orphanage, and I heard that he was born with a bad background. Coupled with the poor care of the orphanage, he died within a short period of time. When I heard these news, I was abroad on business. Without Victor as a burden, my career has flourished in the past few years, not only opening up new territories, but also making a lot of like-minded friends along the way. The days went by with style and gusto, and I enjoyed the freedom of a life that until this moment I truly belonged to myself, not to any man's wife or mother. In the years to come, I will devote myself to the development of female-oriented consumer products in the hope that I can do my small part to protect the rights and interests of women that should belong to them. Day by day, and I also rely on their own efforts to stand on a higher position, see a broader landscape. The men around me changed again and again, and the ones who stayed by my side in the end were either the ones who knew the rules or the ones who could provide me with help. As for love, I am no longer forced, because I understand that only money is the king of this world. Love is the most worthless thing in this world.